What if a building was a weapon broadcasting pure terror? This is the legend of a concrete structure in the city of Chicago. This monolith is University Hall at the University of Illinois Chicago campus. Completed in 1965, it stands 338 feet tall, dominating the entire skyline. It remains the tallest building on the entirety of Chicago's vast west side. Its architect was Walter Netsch of the firm Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill. The legendary firm, also known as SOM, designed the entire university campus complex. This building is a prime and often cited example of Brutalist architectural style. The term brutalism originates from the French phrase béton brut, meaning raw concrete. It was the critic Rainer Banham who first popularized this term back in 1955. Netsch's specific style for the campus was a complex system he called field theory. His theory involved complex geometries that were based on rotating shapes and forms. The building's imposing design became the canvas for a disturbing new digital legend. It is now known as the Brutalist antenna theory, a truly modern folktale. The theory's core claim is the building is a clandestine government broadcast antenna. Its alleged purpose is not simple communication, but something far more sinister indeed. This legend serves as a case study in how architecture fuels our modern anxiety. Brutalism remains one of the most divisive architectural styles in all of history. Many perceive its structures as monolithic, fortress-like, and profoundly, deeply alienating. The architectural style flourished worldwide from the 1950s through the late 1970s. It was most often used for government, university, and large institutional building projects. Scientific studies connect urban environments to increase stress responses within the human brain. This suggests buildings can have a direct, measurable psychological impact on all people. The legend's narrative begins with a UIC student and an amateur radio enthusiast. He detects a strange, subsonic broadcast that seems to originate from the campus. The story's use of shortwave radio evokes intense Cold War-era government paranoia. This detail taps into fears of hidden communications and shadowy, secret government projects. The UIC campus, including University Hall, opened to students in February of 1965. This places its origins and entire construction firmly within the tense Cold War era. The student describes the signal not as a sound, but as a physical pressure wave. He feels it deep within his bones, a constant and unsettling physical vibration. The broadcast seems to pulse directly from the very cold heart of University Hall. The architectural firm SOM was actually an early pioneer of computer-aided design. This fact suggests a deep interest in integrating technology directly into their structures. The student then uses his equipment to triangulate the signal's exact source location. What he discovers next transforms the mystery into something truly, deeply horrifying. He finally decodes the subsonic signal, revealing a raw, terrifying stream of data. The data stream contains endless lists of names and their social security numbers. He recognizes the names as UIC students who were reported missing over many decades. This reveal directly weaponizes our modern fears of constant, invasive data breaches. It also preys upon the deep, pervasive fear of losing one's own identity. The actual history of the campus itself adds another disturbing layer of darkness. The 105-acre site was built on cleared land through controversial urban renewal projects. This was a political act that displaced thousands of residents and local businesses. A tense environment existed between the new campus and the surrounding city neighborhood. The architect Walter Netsch once stated the campus walls were for student protection. He said they would shield students from the so-called hostile eyes of the neighborhood. This context perfectly feeds the legend's paranoia of a hidden, very hostile purpose. In 1982, UIC merged two separate campuses into one single, much larger entity. The story suggests this merger helped conceal the consolidation of these many lost records. The student now realizes he must find the physical source of the terrible broadcast. The lowest sublevels of the building are where he locates the signal. He gains access to a restricted service elevator deep inside the massive concrete structure. Inside the elevator, he finds a hidden, unmarked button that is labeled Floor 0. The elevator descends into a part of the building that should not even exist. The doors open into a stark, windowless chamber made of raw, cold, imposing concrete. The room is filled with rows of humming, vintage 1960s-era mainframe computers. This discovery aligns perfectly with the campus construction timeline from 1965 to 1968. The building's primary materials were heavy, rusticated concrete and dark Minnesota granite. These materials emphasize the solid, impenetrable nature of this hidden, very secret space. Netsch's original design metaphor was that of a stone dropped in a still pond. The campus's functional areas were designed to radiate out in many concentric rings. The legend twists this innocent design to imply a secret, hidden, sinister central core. Floor 0 is the true, dark, beating heart at the very center of it all. As he approaches a single terminal, the low hum begins to intensify greatly. The very air itself starts to vibrate with an unseen, completely menacing energy. Suddenly, the entire 28-story administrative building above him roars violently to life. University Hall acts as the central nervous system for the entire university campus. Now, its full, immense power is focused on this one single hidden room. The building emits a physically painful, high-intensity subsonic frequency throughout the space. The student experiences immediate and terrifying symptoms of pure, visceral body horror. He feels his own bones start to vibrate painfully deep inside of his body. His teeth ache terribly and his gums begin to bleed from the intense pressure. This provides a chilling parallel to a real 2011 German scientific research study. The study found city living creates greater stress responses in the human amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's fear and primary emotion processing center for all humans. The building is causing a direct physiological fear response in its lone, trapped intruder. Then comes the legend's ultimate and most personal, invasive form of pure horror. His own small radio, which he brought with him, suddenly crackles loudly alive. It begins to broadcast his own full name and his social security number. The system has found him, identified him, and has now officially claimed him. He is now just another name on the building's endless, horrifying digital list. A frantic and disorienting escape sequence begins through the dark, pulsing concrete corridors. The building itself seems to be hunting him, a truly inanimate, malevolent antagonist. The subsonic vibrations shift and change, trying to disorient and to trap him. The sheer scale of this architectural threat is made possible by its original designers. The firm SOM went on to build the world's tallest, most complex buildings. They designed both the Willis Tower in Chicago and the massive Burj Khalifa. This demonstrates their complete mastery over massive and very complex structural systems. The legend implies this technical mastery could be used for much darker purposes. The student barely escapes with his life, forever changed by the terrible experience. He is now a ghost within the system, his personal data totally compromised forever. This powerful horror story is a fusion of many distinct and modern anxieties. It combines government conspiracy, data vulnerability, and a deep, intense, primal claustrophobia. It also taps directly into the visceral, primal fear of invasive body horror. The story's most potent element is its complete transformation of the entire building. It changes from a simple background setting into the story's primary, main antagonist. The legend effectively preys on the cultural baggage of the Brutalist architectural style. Brutalism's pioneers believed in a core philosophy they referred to as moral seriousness. They wanted to be brutally honest with their specific choice and use of materials. The legend twists this idea of honesty to imply a truly brutal, hidden purpose. The style is also intrinsically linked to the public failure of social housing projects. The infamous Pruitt-Igoe complex was demolished on live television back in the year 1972. This cemented a public perception of the style as alienating or even actively harmful. Brutalism is often associated with large, bureaucratic government and massive university structures. This association reinforces the legend's themes of impersonal data and total state control. The building becomes a physical manifestation of an oppressive, unfeeling, and faceless system. The story ends with a paranoid warning to anyone who will dare to listen. The protagonist insists that the strange, subsonic broadcast is still very much active. The legend provides a sinister why for brutalism's common, distinctly unsettling visual feeling. Real criticism suggests its monotony can have negative psychological effects on its inhabitants. The story gives that vague, anxious feeling a name and a terrifying new purpose. It transforms architectural critique into a full-blown modern technological horror story. Ironically, brutalism is currently experiencing a major cultural and aesthetic revival today. This aesthetic revival is fueled largely by social media and modern popular culture. We now find ourselves celebrating the powerful aesthetics of these concrete architectural monsters. In a timely development, UIC has announced new plans for campus renovation projects. These plans include demolishing the historic facade of another original niche-designed building. Taft Hall, another classic brutalist structure, will soon be irrevocably changed forever. Does this mean the system is simply upgrading, or is it being dismantled? The legend of the brutalist antenna intentionally leaves that question completely unanswered. It reminds us that our deepest fears can easily inhabit any single physical space. We project our collective anxieties onto the cold, concrete world that surrounds us. The legend suggests some structures are designed to project those fears right back. What if some buildings are actually listening to our deepest,